But now on to Mad Mac. I mean, these macaroons are amazing. I had the pleasure of trying one, and they are delicious.
On the macaron, we're quite busy. We are making around 12, 14,000 macarons a day. So
12? Oh my goodness.
And everything's made by hand. As you know, macaron cannot be mechanized, so they have to be filled by hand, they have to be sticked by hand, packaged by hand, everything's done by hand.
And there are a lot of people who are interested in artificial flavors and preservatives, and I just happen to notice that these are no preservatives, right? No artificial flavors.
We have no artificial flavor, no preservative. Some of them have a pinch of food coloring, and but it's, you know, FD&C food coloring, but although they are not natural color. So
that is amazing. And they're so delicious, you would never know that they weren't like absolutely terrible from like man-created ingredients.
No, they are fun to make. You know what? It's a pretty good cookie. I love macaron. This is how we started this business.
I'm curious, is this why you chose macarons? Why did you choose macarons and madeleines?
I think macaron is the alternative to chocolate. Let me explain. I think macaron can be given as a gift. They can be, it's finger food. They can be, you know, you can consume by yourself, and you can consume them in the office. It's really, I think, is one of the top finger food that we have in, you know, in the sweet area, and it can be a gift. It can be. They are very versatile and colorful and very tasty, and they hold up pretty well, even at room temperature, 2-3 days. They hold up pretty well. So I think it was an interesting product to be, you know, to work with. When we started with my partner Ludovic in 2006, macarons were getting seriously famous in France. They've been in the French culture, you know, since, you know, the past century. But the thing is, yeah, they got like a revival, little bit like the cupcake story here in US. And 10 years ago, some chefs get interested about these little cookies that we're still making. And they decide to come up with, you know, interesting flavors, and we work the recipe, make the inside more creamy, and things like that. So we got the whole revival of macaron in France. And back in 2006, I was in New York already, and my partner and I were working for Fauchon at that time, and the French pastry brand. And we were selling a lot of macaron because we were working for a French company, so we were making macaron. And I do remember back in 2006 that macaron in New York were selling already pretty well, and we were thinking, you know what? Let's do a business out of it, because we think
there's something here.
And we were thinking, you know, if we get lucky, the trend will cross the ocean and will come over in New York, and it happened. We started, you know, seeing chefs in hotels, and I was visiting them by myself, and I knew most of them. And came with my macaron. I heard many times like, oh, this is a funny looking cookie. It looks like a mini burger. I heard that many times, meaning like many American chefs didn't know what was a macaron at that time. And that time was only 2007. It was not that long time ago. And now everybody knows what it is. It became so popular.
How do you make these? Can someone make these at home? Are they relatively easy to make or not really?
They are not easy to make. They are not so complicated to make, but you really have to be dedicated to make it. Like you really have to choose your ingredients wisely. To give you some tip, you have to have a very good quality of egg white. Basically, the shell of the macaron, it's a meringue, which is a whipped egg white with sugar, and containing some, where we fold in some a mix of almond flour, you know, like a fine blanched almond that are, you know, ground, and it's a mixing of almond that we fold in those egg whites. Now, having said that, the egg whites have to be a very good quality egg white to make sure that they whip very well and fluffy and firm enough. And the almond has to be dry enough and not containing too much almond oil, like not greasy. And there is some you know, different quality of almond flour on the market. And we've been using so much, of course, it's our job, and we're producing so much macaron that we know our supplier, but even though sometimes we have some issues with the almond flour. Good ingredients, you need good dedication, you need good oven. I know it's a lot of but you need good oven, and then you need to know how to make it, but it's not that complicated. You don't bother making them, just buy them.